Okay, so let's have a quick review of intelligence and intelligence testing. It's a very controversial topic in psychology and has many definitions. It includes the mental ability that enables one to adapt to, shape, and select one's environment, the ability to judge, comprehend, and reason, the ability to understand and deal with people, objects, and symbols, and the ability to act purposely, think rationally, and deal effectively with the environment. The very first person to actually study psychologically was a psychometrician named Spearman in 1904, who actually developed some standards for testing and saw it as the measurement of individual differences in both behavior and abilities. Spearman called his factor the G factor, um, which stands for general abilities. Cattell accepted Spearman's approach, but proposed two different types, one called fluid intelligence, which is a reasoning power. It's how you use intelligence. And crystallized intelligence, which is acquired skills and knowledge and the application of that knowledge. So as you age, your crystallized intelligence goes up, while your fluid intelligence peaks in middle age and goes down. Whereas your fluid intelligence early in life is lower than it is later in life. Howard Gardner at Harvard, had a different idea about intelligence, saying that there's more than one type of intelligence. It's multiply determined, which includes language skills, musical ability, logical and mathematical reasoning, spatial reasoning, body movement skills like athletes, self-control and understanding, and sensitivity to other people's signals, such as politicians or, for that matter, psychopaths. Intelligence tests are the only measure that we have that's accepted by many um, governmental and medical and insurance agencies, and it's based on looking at the differences between mental age and chronological age. The Stanford Binet IQ test was developed in Paris by Alfred Binet, and it was re-standardized later by Lewis Terman at Stanford. It has an average score of 100 and a standard deviation of 16 points. The Wechsler test, both the adult, children, and pre-primary school kit tests also have a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. It's interesting because those are the two most widely used, but there's other ones too. They include the Raven's progressive matrices, which is more of a nonverbal test. The Kaufman, which only has 2 scales as opposed to 12 on the Wechsler, and the Army Alpha and Army Beta, which are given as groups. Aptitude tests, on the other hand, don't measure innate ability like IQ tests. And by the way, your IQ score is your mental age divided by your chronological age times 100. So if you have a mental age of 10 and a chronological age of 10, that would mean you have an IQ of 100, which is average. If you have a mental age of 5 and a chronological age of 10, that means your IQ is 50. Likewise, if you have an IQ of a mental age of 15 and an IQ chronological age of 10, you have an IQ of 150. Aptitude tests measure your likelihood of success, and really are based more on what prediction we can make about whether you do well, like the SAT or the ACT. The achievement tests, on the other hand, measure your level of attainment. So they include graduate record exam, the MCATs for medical school, and the law school admission test. So supposedly, as you go through your college days, you should be accumulating knowledge and do well on achievement tests. Standardization of IQ tests refers to the process of establishing rules for administering the test and for interpreting it. So you can have some confidence that whatever result you get is an accurate and repeatable result. And of course, norms are descriptions of frequencies that occur at particular scores. So if you're 20 years old, there's a normative group that you're being compared to. Reliability refers to whether a test is repeatable. So if you give a test and you get the same score every time, then it's a reliable test. Just like a car, if it works properly every time you go out to use it, then it's reliable. There's different types like split half reliability, comparing the first half and the second half of a test, or test-retest reliability, which is giving the test and then re-giving the test. Validity, on the other hand, is a determination of how well a test measures what it's supposed to. So a valid IQ test measures intelligence. A thermometer is not a valid tool for measuring air pressure. It's invalid. And there's different types of validity. Content validity, referring to the information within the test. Does it represent what you're trying to measure? Construct validity, of course, is it based on some theoretical construct like the G factor? And predictive validity is whether the test actually predicts some real world performance. The utility of a test refers to how useful it is. So a 4-hour test might not be as useful as a 15-minute test. So there have been a long history of issues, and in class we would talk more about this, but suffice it to say that early IQ tests were rife with bias and had to be restandardized many times. So the terms reliability, validity, utility, and bias are all listed on this next sheet. You can read through them. You can pause the show here if you'd like.